Hello, my name is Oscar and I'm your teacher today. In this video, you're going to learn how to read the notes of the bass that are on the ledger lines by using my silly phrase to remember it easily. So let's get into it. We're going to learn A, C, E, G ledger line notes on the bass clef. So now that we know we can place the notes on the line, or in a space, or line, or space, or line, or space, and so on and so forth, we run out of lines at some point, right? So, what do? There are more sounds than there are spaces and lines on this staff, right? Which should be next now, according to our little pattern of line and space? Should this be the last note that we could see was on a line? So the next note should be in a space. Correct. Right. So the space is being highlighted right now with an orange bar to show you what the space is. And so we're going to place the note in there, which in this case is a B note. And this note is called B because it's above A, which was the last note that we had on a line. Now, the same true is going down below the staff. This note that we have is a G, right? And it's on the line. So is the very note supposed to be on a line or in a space? Well, that's right. It's supposed to be in a space because if we follow the pattern of line, space, going down, the pattern doesn't change. So we have the G note, and then below it, we have the F note. We're going to place a note below the staff, and the name of this note is F because it's below G. Okay, simple enough. Now, what happens if you want to keep going up or down the staff but have no more lines? Are we going to draw a whole nother line? That sounds interesting. Well, imagine that the staff keeps going on forever. Okay, are you ready for this? Three, two, one, bam. Okay, now it's a little tough to follow. We do have the 5 lines, but in addition to that, we have a whole bunch of other lines. Now, first of all, we can clearly see how the notes that were just on the outside of the staff are in a space, correct? But that's a lot of lines to keep track of. So it's confusing, impossible to follow, and we're going to make the lines outside of our usual 5 lines into dotted lines. All right? Okay, that's much better, right? So go ahead, and if you would like, print out the printable staff paper that I've linked in the description so that you can draw your bass clef, draw your notes, and practice drawing and reading ledger lines with us. Okay, I guess you paused the video and you did that. Also, if you don't know how to read the bass clef yet, before I move on to explaining ledger lines, please click in the link below in the description where I teach you how to read bass clef notes. All right, here we go. So now that we have infinite imaginary lines, we also have imaginary spaces. If I want to keep going up or down, all I have to do is, yep, that's right. I make visible the piece of line that I need. So I take from that imaginary line and only draw the part of the line that will allow me to place a note on it, right? So here you go. You draw the line and then I place my notes on them. Great. The name of these notes are C and E, but which is which? Let's see. Well, the top note is C because it's above B, and the bottom one is E because it's below F, correct? If you keep going down, you're going backwards in the musical alphabet, right? Musical alphabet is A, B, C, D, E, F, G. And if you go backwards on it, it's going to be G, F, E. Okay. If I want to continue going up, will I go into a space or onto a line? That's right. into a space. We're following the pattern of space, line, etc. So now that we know that, we're going to draw the imaginary line that is not there because the dotted lines represents the imaginary line. So the last note on top of the line is C. The next note should be D in a space, correct? So we draw the part of the A line that we need, or the C line in this case, sorry, and then we place a note on it, right? That's a D. Now, remember that you don't need to draw the top line to show that it's in a space. If you just draw the note above or below the line, the legend line, it indicates that it's in a space. Okay? So the same will be true for notes going down. So since the E note is on the line, the next note below it must be a space, right? So we draw the imaginary line that we need and we place it below. So it is a D because it's below the E note. So we go backwards in our alphabet, G, F, E, D. Yes, so that's how you do it. Now, we're going to look at the most common notes above and below the staff and how to identify them quickly and easily, okay? So first we're going to start with the notes above. Our last note on the line is an A note, okay? Because remember, if you learn to read the bass clef notes with me, you know that grizzly bears don't fear anything. So if you don't know what I'm talking about, click in the link on the description so that you can learn how to read the notes that way. Okay, so now since the A is on a line, we're going to create a legend line for the next three lines above A. Okay, so let's try and turn our imagination on. If you're on the paper, imagine the staff having infinite lines above the A. Now they have to be the same distances as the staff lines that you have already drawn on your paper. Ready? Bam. Okay. So imagine those lines. Don't write them out. Don't draw them out. Just imagine them. Now we're going to draw our ledger lines. This ledger line is going to contain three additional notes, right? So the first line gets prolonged for three pieces. Then we're going to have yet another note above that, and then yet another note above that. So one note on each line. But you still have to draw the number of lines that the note is going to surpass, and spaces for that matter. So now let's draw our note. F, A, C, and E. Okay. Now we don't need to imagine the ledger lines anymore once you draw your ledger lines. So you can go ahead and relax. You've done it. Okay, the ledger lines are drawn. They're there. Okay, so since we're going to start with A, we're simply going to use all cows eat grass starting with A. That's the phrase that we used to learn the notes of the bass when we were doing them in the spaces. But now this is going to be used for the lines that are on, for the notes that are on the lines. So let's check it out. A for all, C for cows, E for eat, and G for grass. All cows eat grass. Remember, you're on the bass clef. This only works on the bass clef, not if you're in the treble clef. So now, if I want to know the name of this note, I'm going to use the phrase, all cows eat grass, counting from the bottom up. And the bottom meaning this line here, the A line, right? The A note. So let's check it out. All cows eat grass. This note is a G. Next one, if I want to know the name of it, I say my phrase and I stop as soon as I get to that note. So all cows, shh, that's it. Cows. So this note is a C. Next, all cows eat. Yes, that's an E because eat is where we stopped. And then this one is easy because you can say grizzly bears don't fear anything, or you can just go all. Okay, good. So you learned those. Now let's check out the most common notes below the staff and how to remember them. And our lowest note on the staff was the G note, correct? Yes. So then we're going to turn our imagination on again and imagine the lower half of the staff extends forever with ledger lines. You ready? Here we go. Bam. Okay. Now we're going to draw the same thing, three ledger lines below the G note. So that means I'm going to draw uh, this because we're going to have three more notes, this, and this. Make sure, see how they look aligned? They look as if the invisible line, they're just tracing the invisible line. Make sure that when you draw your ledger lines, they kind of look like that. So it looks like an extension of the staff. Okay, let's just draw our notes now. There you go. We don't need the imaginary ledger lines anymore. We turn it off, and then there we have it. That's how you will find them on your sheet music. Now, the predator becomes the prey, right? Because now we're going to say grass eats cows always. So all cows were eating grass. Now all the grass is eating the cows. So grass eats cows always. Well, not always, but it's a silly phrase. It's a silly phrase that's going to help you figure out which notes they are. So let's try it. So grass eats cows always. Okay, grass eats cows always. If you have a better phrase, please write it in the comments. I'll fix it. So if you want to know the name of this note, we're going to use that phrase. Grass eats cows always. So let's see. G-A-C-A. Grass eats cows always. So that's an A note. Grass eats. That's an E note. Grass eats cows. Remember, we're saying this silly phrase and we're stopping when we get to the note. We're going backwards, okay? So going down. And then last but not least, you can say grizzly bears don't fear anything, or you can just go grass, okay? So I hope you understood this. I've tried to be as clear as possible. I'm sorry if I kind of stop myself. I think faster than I talk sometimes. So that may happen to some of you. In the link, I have for you a quiz for the upper notes that we learned that are on the ledger lines, and also another quiz that tests you on the lower lines. So be sure to do those proficiently. Once you can get them 100% of the time, you can move on to the next video. And just hope you have a great rest of your day. Study hard, and I will see you on the next one.